واستنادا لهذه المناقشات اجتمعت لجنة الصياغة وأعدت البيان الختامي الذي سيصدر عن أعمال هذا المؤتمر، والذي جاء انعكاسا لجميع الحوارات والنقاشات والمداخلات التي قدمت في هذا المؤتمر. نعتقد بأن إن لم نكن كلها نكون معظمها أو جلها تم استيعابها في مشروع البيان الختامي، وقد تم ترجمة هذا البيان إلى اللغة الإنجليزية، والتي سيتلوه علينا جميعا الرئيس الفخري السيد بيتر ايزنشتاين.
Unity and determination to support Palestinian detainees and insistence on the need to continue to internationalize their cause. The European Alliance in Defense of Palestinian Detainees held its 9th conference in Brussels, Belgium, on the 3rd and 4th of May 2025, under the slogan of Fostering Global Solidarity with Prisoners Amid Genocide. The conference took place as the Israeli occupation continues to escalate its genocidal war against our people in the Gaza Strip and the rest of the occupied Palestinian territories begun on October 7, 2023. This has led to the continuing martyrdom of tens of thousands of our people, including children, women, the elderly, and all social groups, and the injury and displacement of hundreds of thousands of civilians, as well as the destruction of homes and all civilian objects and facilities. The Gaza Strip, with its cities, villages, and camps, has become unfit for human life. At the same time, campaigns escalate to arrest thousands of our people in extremely harsh conditions of unprecedented torture and abuse in Timen and other detention centers. All of this comes in the context of the occupation's annexation and displacement plans aimed at strengthening Israeli control and undermining the establishment of an independent Palestinian state on the territories occupied in 1967, including Jerusalem, the capital of Palestine. The conference witnessed a wide and distinguished European and international attendance, with the participation of groups of parliamentarians, lawyers, jurists, representatives of political parties and international solidarity movements. Her Excellency Ms. Amal Jadot, and was ambassador to the state of Palestine to Belgium and the European Union, participated in the conference, along with an important delegation of Palestinian prisoners' institutions. A large number of leaders and activists of Palestinian communities in European countries, Brazil, the diaspora, and an important group of media professionals and journalists were also in full attendance. The conference listened to messages and live testimonies from freed prisoners who were subjected to detention and torture in Israeli occupation prisons. These testimonies made deep impact on all members of the conference. In its deliberations and specialized working sessions, the conference discussed the grave violations to which both male and female detainees of all ages are subjected to in occupation prisons. Detainees in secret prisons, especially the Tzitamen, witnessed unprecedented forms of brutal torture after October 7, 2023. This led to the martyrdom of dozens of detainees and prisoners, as well as to the crimes of medical negligence, the detention of the bodies of martyrs and prisoners and activists, and the issue of numbered graves. The conference also discussed the unjust Israeli racist laws against prisoners, which contradict international human rights. As part of the conference, there was a photo exhibition which illustrates the suffering of prisoners in occupation prisons. The conference vigorously condemned the occupation's crimes against prisoners and its flagrant violations of international human law, and emphasized the responsibility of the international criminal justice system, especially the International Criminal Court, to investigate the crimes committed against prisoners and prosecute the perpetrators and bring them to trial, so that these criminals do not go unpunished. The conference commended the steadfastness and heroic struggle of the detainee movement in the occupation prisons in light of the escalating war, genocide, starvation, and torture targeting them. The conference stressed the need to mobilize all Palestinian, Arab, and international efforts to 1. Publicize, expose, and condemn Israeli practices and violations against prisoners and detainees, especially women, children, and administrative detainees, and to intensify efforts at the international level to stop the suffering of prisoners and release them from occupation prisons in coordination and cooperation with the relevant international human rights bodies. 2. Continue to internationalize the issue of detainees and expedite the referral of crimes committed against them to the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice, so that Israel, as an occupying power, does not remain above international law. It also stressed the importance of cooperation with international human rights institutions to achieve these goals. 3. Raise awareness about the continuation and escalation of the crimes of medical neglect against sick prisoners, the deliberate starvation and rape, and the policy of enforced disappearance practiced by the occupation authorities and Israeli prison administrators. The conference decided, in coordination with national institutions, to appeal to European medical unions and institutions to follow up on the cases of sick prisoners and work to form international medical delegations to inspect prison conditions. Number 4, condemn the Israeli occupation's policy of detaining Palestinian children and using military courts as tools to implement deterrent sentences that violate their rights guaranteed by all international laws and conventions, and to increase the pace of coordination with international human rights organizations to escalate solidarity campaigns until all detainees' freedom is achieved. Continue the international campaign launched by the European Alliance in defense of Palestinian detainees in cooperation with relevant Palestinian and Arab organizations to support the struggles of administrative detainees and boycott the occupation courts, to demand an end to the policy of administrative detention and the release of all administrative detainees, to urge all contracting states to the Geneva Conventions to implement the Third and Fourth Conventions of 1949 and force the occupation authorities to apply them to prisoners in occupation prisons, and work to repeal Israeli racist laws that violate international humanitarian law. 6. Launch an international campaign with the participation of national institutions to condemn as a war crime the occupation's policy of holding the bodies of martyrs and prisoners, to work for the release of the bodies of detainees and the bodies of martyrs held in mortuaries and numbered graves, and bring an end to the suffering of their families. 7. Develop the coalition's media efforts to expose and condemn the occupiers' crimes against prisoners and detainees. Document the occupiers' crimes against prisoners, produce short films and photos, publish media materials to explain to European and international audiences the suffering of detainees, to inform and influence public opinion, and communicate these cases to governments, embassies, and officials in Europe and around the world. Number 8, increase the value and appreciation of the intellectual, cultural, and literary production of detainees, to translate and publish their writings and encourage all initiatives to support the creative efforts of detainees. And lastly, number 9, based on the wide and qualitative international participation in the 9th Conference of the Coalition, the conference emphasizes the need to expand the European Alliance to include other countries and continents. As the European Alliance in Defense of Palestinian Detainees concludes its 9th conference, it expresses its support for detainees in occupation prisons and reaffirms that it will continue to internationalize the issue of prisoners in all international forums. The Alliance will continue to demand the prosecution of the occupation government and its leaders in international and European courts for committing crimes against prisoners. The Coalition expresses its determination to continue its efforts to strengthen and develop its relations with civil society institutions, human rights organizations, and parliaments in Europe and other countries of the world to follow up prisoners' issues until they are freed from the prisons of the Israeli occupation. Freedom for the prisoners, speedy recovery for the prisoners, glory to the martyrs.
نشكر جميع الحضور، نشكر جميع أعضاء البرلمانات والجمعيات والمؤسسات الحقوقية الأوروبية، ونشكر جميع أبناء فلسطين اللي حاضرين اليوم في المؤتمر وخاصة نادي الأسير. نشكر الجميع. وهذا المؤتمر يعني فعلا يؤكد مرة أخرى الترابط العضوي والقوي جدا ما بين قضية الأسرى التي مر عليها يعني أكثر من 76 سنة من عام 1948 من أيام النكبة إلى الآن، مع ترابط عضوي للمقاومة التي تحصل والحرب والعدوان القائم على أبناء شعبنا الفلسطيني في قطاع غزة وحتى في الضفة الغربية لعملية التهجير القائم في مخيمات جنين وطول كرم إلى آخره. أنا برأيي أن هذا البيان الختامي يشكل برنامج عمل لكل المطالبين مع قضية الأسرى ومع القضية الوطنية الفلسطينية.
Prisoner groups who were able to send videos which made this conference so much more unique and impactful. So thank you very much to everyone who made this conference such a success.
إذا في أي حدا عنده أي اقتراح توصيات أي شيء بخصوص المؤتمر أو المؤتمر القادم أو أي عمل مثل التحالف بإمكانه يوجهه للدكتور خالد. آخر شيء بحب أشكر كل الحضور وكمان الزملاء في اللجنة الاستشارية وعلى رأس الدكتور خالد على العمل اللي عملوه كل الوقت وأعضاء اللجنة التحضيرية، وطبعا بنثمن غاليا كل واحد كان بيته يوصل ما وصلش واللي وصلوا هنا طبعا عملوا على نجاح المؤتمر ويعطيكم ألف عافية. اللقاء في المؤتمر القادم.
شعبي آت من آلام شعب